So in this particular example, when this guy tweeted out and he said it's more tragic that Piers Morgan doesn't see that this is Hamas's fault, right? And if you break down the logic, why is it Hamas's fault? Well, they're going to tell you, well, if Hamas didn't do the attack on October 7th, this wouldn't have happened, right? But see, the problem is when you take the logic and say, okay, so if A didn't attack B, then C wouldn't have happened, right? That's the breakdown, right? So, okay, let's now apply it to the entire the conflict. If A didn't attack B, C wouldn't happen, right? So if A, the Israelis did not occupy land and attack the Palestinians, none of this entire thing would have happened in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So when you begin to frame arguments based on the logic they use. Actually, in Islam, the ulama use jawab al-Islam, right? They would take the logic, like you find Ibn Taymiyyah using this, right? He wouldn't necessarily believe certain statements, but he would say, my opponent says such and such. Based on that, okay, well, let's apply this to this scenario. How would you respond if I apply the same logic, right? And that's exactly what you're doing. You're saying, okay, well, I can follow, for argument's sake, I will follow your logic in this path, right? For the sake of the argument. Now we're going to take, since you agreed to that, because obviously you made a point that's rooted in that logic, you obviously believe that logic to be true and correct.
Yes, sir.
So then you apply it to another area within the conflict, and you'll see how quickly the logic crumbles, right? And then you'll see them get on the back foot and defensive, right? So my point is, we can get into issues of, oh, that's not true, that didn't happen, Hamas is, you can do all that stuff, right? But you're never going to get them convinced because they are trying to apply a certain level of logic that they agree with. If you apply that logic, what happens is it stumbles them because they'll have to, it puts them on the back foot.